Okay, so let's do a quick recap of what we have learned yesterday. So yesterday we were looking at all the basics of calculator and we were looking at some key function. So the first thing that we learned is how to switch it on, how to switch it off. Then we learned a function called reset. How do you reset your calculator? Second, and then reset, and then of course the calculator would ask you for which key? Enter key. So once you reset, your calculator is restored to the default factory settings. Then we also learned how to change the decimal setting. How would you do that? Second, format, and then we would say whatever decimals we want to enter, or let's say 9, enter, and then we would come out of it, we would say second, quit. Then we looked at certain important functions, which is how do you save your numbers in various memory slots. So in order to save any number, you would put that number, let us say 225, and if you want to store this in the third memory slot, you would say store third. If you want to check what was the number stored in the third memory slot, you would say recall third. Then fourthly, we looked at this important row which we called as time value of row, time value of money row, and then we looked at two important functions. We said how do you calculate present value, how do you calculate future value, n or iy, given that the three variables out of these four are given to you. Now if you've been given present value, future value and n, and you've been asked to calculate iy, then what you need to ensure is to avoid error 5. And how do you avoid error 5? Yes, by making sure that the sign of present value and negative value is opposite of each other. Then we also looked at that the compounding need not be annual. The compounding can be semi-annual, it can be quarterly, it can be monthly, it can also be daily, it can also be every fraction of second. So now today, the one number that we did not do in the previous session was this one. And we want to understand what is the meaning of this payment function that we have on the calculator. So now see, in the earlier cases, what I said to you is that you would go to a bank and deposit 100 rupees. Let us say for XYZ years. But in real life, it doesn't work that way. Because not necessary that you would have a lump sum amount to make investment. You would like to save some part of your monthly salary or some part of your salary every month. So how do you ensure that this investment is going smooth? Let us say that every month you decide to invest 100 rupees. So this is year 1, this is 2, this is 3. You've made an investment of 100 rupees for 3 years. The interest rate given by bank is 10%. Can you find out how much money you will have at the end of year 3? Have you understood the question? That every year, not month, every year you've invested 100 rupees for yourself. So 100 here, here and here. The interest rate offered by bank is 10% per annum compounded annually. Find out how much money you would be left with at the end of year 3. Do it. This is year 1. This is time 0. That means this is end of the year 1. $331. Shushti, how much? 331. How much? Huh? See, if we say that first investment is made at time 1, it automatically means that this is the end of year 1. Yes, Srishti, how much? Sorry, Dhriti? Dhanraj? How much? 331, yes. See, the whole idea here is that this 100 today will be worth 100 itself because there would not be any compounding effect, there would not be any interest. So this is my first 100 plus. This 100 that I invested at the end of year 2, I have invested this for 1 year. So this 100 will become 110. And this 100 that I invested at the end of year 1, I have invested this amount for how many periods? This amount has been invested for 2 periods. So 100 will become 110, and then I would get 10% on 110. We saw that this is called compounding. So the total amount would be 121. So the total would come out to be 331. Is it making sense to you? Yes. So now solve a similar question, but invest your 100 rupees for 27 years and find out how much money you'll have. Invest your 100 rupees 27 times and find out how much money you'll have. Okay, you can give me the answer tomorrow. See, if you do this manually, it would take you a lot of time because you'll have to calculate future value of each of the number. So a smarter way of doing it is you can use this button on your calculator. So what is the meaning of payment here? In finance word, we call this amount as annuity. Okay. So what is that annuity? There are 2 conditions. Number 1, that the amount of payment has to be constant. Meaning of which is that this 100 is constant, it is not changing. Second, the frequency between the 2 payments is also not going to change. That means we are making this payment every month, every year or every quarter, but the frequency is not changing, neither is the amount. If these 2 conditions are satisfied, we would call that amount as annuity. And this annuity or this payment function would give us a direct answer for 331. So let's try this again. The most important key on TVM row is, the first key that you would like to press on TVM is second, clear TVM, so that everything that was saved earlier is deleted. So press second, press clear TVM, the earlier memory functions are deleted. Now say 100 payment, press 100 and then press the payment button. How many payments you've made here? 3 payments. So press 3 and call it as N. You're telling your calculator that this payment has been made 3 times. What is your interest rate? 10%. So say 10 IY. And then compute future value. How much is future value? 331. So what it means is that if there is a constant payment with a constant interval, you can use that payment function and you can find out that how much is the amount that you would be left with at the end of your investment horizon. Are we okay here? Now let me flip this question in a slightly different fashion. You go to a bank and you take a loan of 50 lakh rupees. This loan you would be paying over the period of 20 years with an annual installment. Okay, so every year you would pay one installment, and you would pay that installment in such a way that by the end of year 20, your entire principal has been paid back. So this amount, the loan that you take, is called as principal. Interest rate that is being charged to you is 10% per annum. Find out what is the amount of installment that you would be paying at the end of every year. Have you understood the question? You've taken loan of 50 lakhs. Interest rate charged by the bank is 10%. The duration over which you would be paying back this loan is 20 years. You want to find out what is that amount that the person would be required to pay at the end of every year so that this loan is completely paid off in 20 years. 20? 87,000. No. Yes. 67 what? Every year. This is an annual installment, not monthly. 50 lakhs. How much? 87,000. No, do it again. 50 lakhs is the amount of loan that you've taken. So if you pay 87,290 every year, how much are you paying in total? You're paying about 16 lakhs or 17 lakhs over the period of 20 years. Doesn't make sense. Are you following what I'm saying here? If you've taken a loan of 50 lakhs, you would be paying substantially higher than that because you would pay principal plus interest. 5 lakh 288 298. Okay. Oh, this is what you people were saying? आपने 5 lakh बोला था? Okay. Alright, let's do this together. Sorry, yes, anyone has got a different answer? 6,74,596. Is there anyone else with a different answer? 9,60,279. Okay. Anyone else? Alright, so understand, when you pay back these installments, when you take a loan, do you pay the same amount every month or every year, or do you pay a different amount every month? We pay the same amount. First payment, let's say if you make after a month, the second payment you would make a month after that or 2 months after that. So what we are basically saying is that the interval is constant for these payments and the amount is also constant. So can I say that when I take a loan and I pay back these installments, that installment is nothing but annuity? That installment is nothing but annuity, and to solve for annuity, which function are we going to use? Payment function. So now the whole idea is straightforward. So how do you solve for this? Second, clear TVM. Second, clear TVM. 50 lakhs. This is the amount of loan that you have taken today. So you would say 50 lakhs is your present value. Then how many installments are you going to pay in? 20. So you would say 20 is your N. And your interest rate is 10. So you would say 10 is your IY. And then you would solve for what? You would solve for payment. So then say compute and then say payment. How much? 587, 298. This is the answer. Now, we'll go a little bit deep inside this. Okay, so what is the meaning of this 587, 298? Let's do a relatively smaller example to understand what it means here. Let's keep a relatively simple number. Let us say you've taken loan of 100,000 rupees, or you've taken loan of 1 lakh rupees. The interest rate charged by the bank is 10%, and you're going to pay it back in equal 3 installments. Now, find out what is the amount of installment that you'll have to pay every year. How much? 40211. All of you getting the same answer? Abhimanyu, have you got this number? No. Second, clear TVM. Second, clear TVM. This is your second. This is your clear TVM. 100,000 present value. 10, don't say percent, that's a 10, and then that's your IY. 3, that is your N, and then say compute payment. So when you would say compute payment, automatically you would find out the amount of installment that is to be paid. Are we on the same page here? Okay. Now, these are my columns. This is my year 1, this is my year 2, this is my year 3. This is my opening amount of loan. This is the interest that I am supposed to pay. This is the installment that I have paid. That means this portion I would be paying towards outstanding principal. And then this is my closing balance. Okay. What is the meaning of principal? If I have taken loan of 1 lakh rupee, that 1 lakh is called as principal amount. So when I pay back this loan over the period of time, I pay some amount of principal and I pay some amount of interest. So let's look at that logic here. At the beginning of year 1, I have taken loan of 1 lakh rupee. And if that is the case, how much interest should I be paying? 10,000, because interest rate is 10%. If loan is 1 lakh, I would pay interest of 10,000. But how much amount I would be actually paying to the bank? 40211, because that's what my calculator is telling me. So I have actually paid an amount of 40211. But if I paid that extra 30211, why did I pay that extra amount? I have paid that amount towards the repayment of principal. So how much amount did I pay? 30211. So my opening principal was 1 lakh rupee. I have repaid 30211. How much is the closing principal now? 69,789. So my closing principal at the end of year 1 is 69789. Is there anyone who's not clear here? Should I repeat this part again? Are you okay here? Okay. So if my closing balance at the end of year 1 is 69789, can I say that my opening balance at the beginning of year 2 is 69789? And if that is the case, how much interest should I be paying here? 6979. But how much amount I'm actually paying here? 40211. So what it means is that this amount is constant. This was my annuity, so 40211. Now, I was supposed to pay interest of 6979, but I have paid a total amount of 40211. How much extra have I paid? Do this. 40211 minus 6979. 33,232. So I have repaid 33,232 worth of my principal. My opening principal was 69789. I have paid back 33,232. How much I am left with? 36,557. So my closing outstanding principal at the end of year 2 is 36,557. That becomes my opening in year 3. So 36,557. 10% on this amount, my interest would be 3656. But again, the amount that I pay is constant, 40211. How much towards principal? 36,557. And the outstanding loan at the end of year 3 becomes 0. Have you followed the logic? So this is exactly what your payment function means. So when you calculate that payment, it gives you an equivalent set of 3 amounts or 4 amounts or 7 amounts which are equal to what was your present value today. Which part should I repeat from here? Or are we good to move on? Okay. Let's do one more. Let us say you want to buy yourself a BMW X6. How much would it cost, Abhimanyu? Web of 80 lakhs mein aayega? Okay. Right. So let us say it's about 95 lakhs. Now, what you say is that I am going to take a loan, or my down payment to buy this car is going to be 30% of the price of the car. So you make a down payment of 30%. Of course, the remaining amount is going to be your loan. So you've taken a loan of 70% of this amount. The company offers you an interest rate of 10% per annum. But of course, this is compounded monthly. And the loan duration here is 7 years. Find out what is that monthly installment that you would be required to pay off this loan completely over the period of 7 years. बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं हो गया? 1,10,397. Yes, how much, Monica, Dhriti? 1,10,000. Ashish? 1,126,590. 136,591. Yes, anyone else? The first one, 110. Abhimanyu, Dhanraj, Swapnil, Swamini, Ankur, Srishti. How much? 136,591. Okay. Yes, anyone else? Niharika? Okay. Let's do this together. What's the logic now? I'm going to make down payment of 30% of this amount. So what would be the amount of loan? 70% of 95 lakhs. And if I am taking that loan today, is it present value or future value? It has to be a future value, right? Present value. Okay, so it is your present value. So let's do this together. Second, clear TVM. Now, just to avoid decimals, this is the technique that I always use, that if you get numbers, calculations in millions, billions or in lakhs, you can avoid all the zeros. The final answer that you get, that you can multiply with whatever number or denomination, so you get it directly. So second clear TVM, 95 is your present value. 95 present value. Now we are going to pay this over the period of 7 years, but the compounding is monthly. So what would be my N? Your N would be 12 into 7. Since there would be 12 into 7 number of months in this period of 7 years. So let's do this together. 12 into 7 is your N. And what would be your IY? Your IY would be 10 divided by 10 divided by, yes, 10 divided by 12. So that is the interest rate that you would get per month. Are you following the logic here? And then you would say compute payment. Compute payment, and how much is that payment? What is the number? 110,397. Okay. Should I repeat this again? Are you understanding what are we doing here? See, your present value is 95 into 70%. That's the amount of loan you've taken. Your interest rate is 10 divided by 12, because this is per annum. We want to find out what is the monthly interest rate, and your N here would be 12 into 7, and you would simply compute payment. Are we good to move on? Let's try one more. Let us say you're buying a house which is costing you interest rate is 12% per annum. You're taking a loan for 10 years. If you're going to pay installment annually, what would be the amount of installment? If you're going to pay your installment annually, what would be the amount of installment? You've taken loan for 120 lakhs, so 1.2 CR. 20,000, 807. Okay. So 21 lakh, 20,000, 809 is your annual installment. 23,000. Okay. 2123,809. Yes, anyone else? Anyone else with a different answer? How many of you are getting this answer here? Great. Now, this is not paid annually. This is paid semi-annually. Find out what would be that amount of installment that you'll have to pay every 6 months. Ten lakh, 214. Yes, how many of you are getting this answer here? Okay, again, what is the logic? Sagar, when it was annually, your N was 10 and your IY was 12. When it is semi-annual, your N will become 20, because you would make payment 20 times in 10 years. But how much would be your IY? 6. Because that one period is of 6 months, and for that interest rate is 6% per annum. How much installment if you have to pay it monthly? How much is your N now? How much? 1172, 172, 165. Are we good here? Anyone with doubts, questions, you're not been able to solve? Back there, so many. Is it okay? Are we good to move on, Ashish? Okay. Now we are moving on to the next point here. Now let us say that again you are going to make investments like these. You've divided your investments into 3 parts or 4 parts. This is 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. You invested 100 rupees at time 0. You invested 100 rupees at time 1 and 100 rupees at time 2. You want to find out what is the amount of future value that you would have at the end of year 2 and at the end of year 3. Start. How much money you will have at the end of year 2 and at the end of year 3. Interest at 10%. There is a small trick in the question, be careful. First tell me the amount that you would have at the end of year 3. How much? 331. Okay. So 331 is one of the answer that we have received here. 331. There's a trick here, be careful. This is time 0, this is time 1, 2, 3, you decide whether it's beginning or end. How much, Anuja? 3, 6, 4. 3, 6, 4? Okay. Abhimanyu? 364. Yes, Gauss, Parker. How much? 331. Okay, let's understand the logic here. I'm sure you remember that in the earlier case, in a similar problem, the answer was 331. Though it is not exactly same, it was similar but not exactly same. What is the difference? This 100 that you have invested at time 2, by the end of year 3, how much will they become? They will be 110 because you would get interest for 1 year. This 100 that you've invested here, you would get interest for 2 periods. So this will become how much? 121. And this 100 that you've invested here, this has been invested for 3 periods. So this will be how much? 130, 32.1. So this is 132.1 and total of all these payments is making it as 364. So now the question is that why my answers are changing. In the first case I got 331, now I'm getting 364. Why is this difference? Yes, the difference is that in the earlier case, the payment structure was like this. This is time 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, 100, 100 and 100. In this case, the payment structure is like this. This is 0, 1, 2, 3, 100, 100 and 100. That means there is a difference of timing of these payments. In this case, the first payment is made at the end of year 1. Whereas here, the first payment is made at the beginning of year 1. Since you are making these payments earlier, these are being compounded more number of times. And that higher compounding is increasing the future value. Have you followed the logic? So now there are multiple ways of solving this question. But the approach that I recommend is that your calculator by default assumes when you insert payment that the payments are made at the end of the year. This is a default assumption. You can change this assumption and tell your calculator that no payments are not made at the end of the year, they are made at the beginning of the year. So let's do this again. Let's change the setting of your calculator. Press second and press this key here. Can you see BGN written here? So press this key, second and beginning. What does it show? End. That means currently your calculator is assuming that the payments are made at the end of the year. We need to change this setting. What do you see at the top here? Do you see set? Where is the set button? Set button is here. But to have set, we will be required to press second again. So now press second set. Press second and then press set. And then press second and quit so that you come out of that function. Second beginning, second set, second quit. On your calculator, on the right hand side, you would see a small BGN. So when you see that BGN there, meaning of which is that the calculator settings has been changed and now the calculator is on the beginning mode. Are we okay here? So you've changed the default settings of your calculator and now we can solve for this directly. Now you would say second clear TVM so that if there was anything that would be deleted. Then say N is 3, payment is 100, IY is 10, compute future value. How much? 364. Have you followed the logic? Had this not been made at the beginning of the year, the answer would have been 331. But since this is made at the beginning of the year, there would be more compounding and therefore the amount would be higher. Dhriti, is this okay? Okay. Now the risk that exists with this method is, it makes your life easy because you can do your calculations very fast. But what typically happens is, if there is a question number 20, you put your calculator to beginning mode and you solve the answer. Then there would be question number 25, which again requires you to use payment function. But now this is not at the beginning of the year, this is at the end of the year. You forget to change the setting, you solve the answer, and again the incorrect answer would be one of the option. So, if you change your calculator to beginning mode, you have to ensure that you again take it back to the end mode the moment that question is over. So let's do it again. Second, beginning, second, set, second, quit, so that you are out of that function again. I'm writing the sequence of keys here for you. First you would press second and then you would press the beginning key. Then you would say second and then you would say set. And finally you would say second and quit so that you would be out of that function. Are we clear? Now, do you see anything on the screen of your calculator on the right hand side section? No. That means the calculator is on the end mode. Let's change it to beginning again. Second beginning, second set, second quit. Do you see BGN there? Change it back to end again. Second beginning, second set, second quit. Is it done? Okay. So I think we are done with a lot of important functions here. Now we can start applying these functions and see whether we can solve questions using these different functions. So let us say scenario number 1. Sagar wants a retirement portfolio. How much, Sagar? The amount of retirement portfolio? Huh? Retirement portfolio. इसमें तो लड़की की शादी भी नहीं होगी यार. Okay, let us say Sagar wants a retirement portfolio of 25 CR. Now, currently Sagar's age is 15. Sorry, Sagar. Okay, currently Sagar's age is 20. And he would work for another, don't say 60. 60? 40 years. Someone else said for Sagar? Okay. So Sagar would work for another 40 years. He goes to a bank and bank tells him that we are willing to offer you an investment of or interest rate of 12% per annum. Find out what is that amount that Sagar should invest every month so that 40 years from now he will have a retirement portfolio of 25 CR. Have you followed the question? Find out the amount that should be invested every month. So find out the monthly investment here so that after 40 years, Sagar will automatically have a retirement portfolio of 25 CR. Rupees? 2125 rupees every month. 21,249. How much, Anuja? Ashish? Okay. How many of you are getting this answer? 21,249. Dhriti? Dhanraj? Swapnil? Let's do this together again. First say second and clear TVM so that everything in your memory is deleted. If your calculator is on the beginning mode, bring it back to end mode. If it's on the end mode, don't do anything. Now say that I want 25 CR 40 years from now. So that means since I want this amount in future, this is my future value. So we would, to avoid zeros, we would simply say 25 CR is equal to 2500 lakhs. So keep 2500 as your future value. Then what would be your IY? Now this is 12% per annum. They have not said us whether it's monthly compounding or quarterly or annually. So what do we assume? Why monthly? Have they said it's monthly? Annually? If the investments are monthly, you have to assume that compounding is monthly. So in this case, since you would be making an investment every month, you'll have to assume that that amount would be compounded, and therefore what we would say here is that 12% per annum is the interest rate, but IY would be 1. And what would be your N? 40 into 12. And then you would say compute payment, and your answer would be 0.21249, and you would have to multiply this with 1 lakh so that it would get you 21,249. Are we good to move on? Okay. Yes, who else wants something else? Okay, let me make a slightly tricky question. Let us say that you come across a very beautiful big mansion which you would like to purchase for yourself. A big house or a big bungalow. And the price of this house, let us say, is 12 CR. The bank requires you to make a payment, down payment of 20%. That means that remaining amount is going to be your loan. You would be taking loan for a period of 25 years and you would be paying a monthly installment. The interest rate charged by the bank is 10.5% per annum. Now, the thumb rule of good financial planning practice is that your monthly installment should not exceed 30% of your monthly income. So if your income is ₹1,00,000, your installment shouldn't exceed 30,000. So now, if 30% is the benchmark that we are using, that installment should not be greater than 30% of the income, what should be the minimum monthly income? What should be the minimum monthly income to support buying a house like this? Should I repeat what I said? You have taken loan of 25 CR, 20% down payment, remaining amount is loan. You would be taking loan for 25 years, interest rate would be 10.5% per annum. The thumb rule is that your monthly installment should not increase 30% of your income. So what should be the amount of minimum monthly income so that you can afford to buy this house? How much is the monthly income? 2,30,000? 90,782. 227, 247, 077. Yes, anyone else? Kiran? Pritam? Jijo? Sangram? Yes, Ankur, how much? 12 lakh. Okay, 12 lakh. 94,877. Sujay? Sorry? Interest rate is 10.5% per annum. गलत है आपका? Should we do this together? Yes. Okay. First thing that we'll do is we'll find out what would be the monthly installment. And if we have the monthly installment, we can always find out what should be the total income. Second, clear TVM. Make sure calculator is on the end mode. Now you would say 12 is the amount of house, but I would be taking loan only of 80%. So you'd say 12 into 0.8. 12 into 0.8, and this is your present value. Since you're taking loan today, this amount is your present value. How many installments? So 25 into 12, 25 into 12 is your N. 10.5 divided by 12 is your IY. That is the interest rate per month. So 10.5 divided by 12 is your IY. And then compute payment. And then whatever amount that you've received here, multiply that with 100 lakhs. So that you would get, because we're using this in CR, so multiply that with 100 lakhs so that you would get the exact amount of monthly installment. How much is that? 90? 9? 414. So this is the amount of installment that you should be paying every month. Isn't it very high? 90,006. Yeah, ठीक है. So this is your monthly installment that you'll have to pay. Now you want to find out what should be the monthly income to support an installment like this. So if my monthly income is X, 30% of that amount is going to be 906,414. So how much should be the monthly income? Simply divide this number with 0.3 or divide this number with 30%. So simply say divided by 0.3. How much? 30 lakhs 21,000. 30 lakhs 21,381. See, the confusion is happening because of zeros. Here the installment would come out to be 9 lakhs. So in a year we are paying about 90 lakhs. We are taking this loan for 25 years. So we are, for a loan of 12 CR, we are paying about 25 CR, which makes sense because you would be taking it for 25 years. So it cannot be 3 lakh, it has to be 30 lakhs. Are we good to move on here? Okay. Do you want to do a more advanced one, or should we play around the same level? Okay. Let's try a slightly interesting one. Let us say you have 3 dreams in your life. Okay, you want to achieve or have 3 things with you. So the first thing is you want exotic vacation. Let us say in some island in South Pacific Ocean, let's say Micronesia or some place in South Pacific Ocean. So this vacation you would like to take 8 years from now, and the price of this holiday today would be 20 lakh rupees. Okay, so this is your dream number 1. Second thing is you would like to buy a house for yourself. This house you would like to buy 10 years from now, and a similar property today is valued at, let us say, 90 lakh rupees. And the third dream that you have, you would like to buy yourself a big fancy car. This you would like to buy 11 years from now, and a car similar to this today is being priced at 75 lakh rupees. Now what you also know is that these are the prices today, but when you would go to buy this 8 years from now, of course the price must have increased. So different prices are increasing with different rates, right? So we don't have a blanket inflation rate which applies to everything. So the price of vacation every year would increase by 10%. It would increase substantially faster. The price of this house would increase every year by 8%. And the price of this car will increase every year by 4%. Now, you would be working for another 10 years. So your working life is 10 years now. You go to a bank and this bank says, or you go to a fund manager and this fund manager says that he can achieve a rate of 15% per annum for your investments. My question is, what is that amount that you should invest every month so that your dreams are fulfilled? What is that amount that you should invest every month so that you will be able to buy all these 3 things for yourself? Start. If you get this question right, you're through with time value of money. Yes, Deepshika, got the answer? Dhriti? Wow. 2 lakh? 41 how much? 49,130. Yes. Louder, louder. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. 690 every month? Okay. Swamini. One two eight. Wow. Okay. $271. Round figure. Deepak. This one. Don't you think that's a lot of amount to invest every month? He doesn't have a very big dreams, I think. Something that a middle class should be able to afford. Huh? 1736810. 70 lakhs. If you would come up with such high amounts, he'll stop dreaming. Decide कर लो. अच्छा. हाँ, आपका आ गया आशीष. Should we do this together? Okay, why are we doing this question in the first place? This concept that we're doing here, time value of money, is the base for 7 out of 10 subjects in CFA level 1. So if you're strong with time value of money, and if you don't read those subjects, you will still be able to solve 20-25% questions on those subjects using simple common sense and time value of money logic. So by the time we should get over with these sessions, you should be able to manipulate and play with these numbers. And that's what we are going to do here. That the problem is we want to find out an annuity. We've learned that if I have a simple present value or future value, I can plug that and find out the annuity numbers. But here these are on different time scales. So my step number 1 is, first find out how much that vacation would cost me 8 years from now. How much house would be priced at 10 years from now. How much would be the car's price 11 years from now. That's my step number 1. But these are at different point of time, 8, 10 and 11. So in step number 2, I need to make sure that I bring them on the same time scale. So if I need XYZ amount at the end of year 8, how much amount do I need at the end of year 10? So all the 3 payments, we would bring them on the same point of time, which is year 10. And then we would keep this 10 as your future value and find out the annuity. Okay, so let us do this one together. This is your timeline here. This is time 0. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. Vacation is required 8 years from today. So this is where we would be taking the vacation. Then house 10 years. This is your house. And this is where you're buying your car. Let's find out the prices of these instruments. Every year the price will increase by 10%. So next year, can I say that vacation would be priced at 22? So year after that, will it be 24? No, it would be more than that because it would be 10% of 22. That means again there is an effect of compounding. Dhanraj, are you following this? So how do we find out? Use your time value of money row. Second, clear TVM. For simplicity, we will avoid zeros. 20 is your present value. That price today is 20. 8 is your N. And 10 is your IY. 20 is your present value. 8 is your N. And 10 is your IY. Every year the price will increase by 10. Compute future value. How much? Sorry? Just tell me in lakhs. 42.87. Okay. Now on your screen, this number must be negative. Use plus minus key to make it positive and store it in the first memory slot. So what will happen is that we would not lose those decimals if you save these numbers. Let's find out the price of this house. So again, second clear TVM. What should be the present value now? The present value will be 90. So 90 is your present value. 10 is your N. 8 is your IY. Compute future value. 194.30. This goes in the first memory slot. Make this number as positive. Use plus minus key. Store it in the second memory slot. Let's find out the price of this car. Second clear TVM again. 75 is your present value. 11 is your N. 4 is your IY. Compute future value. 17476. This goes, make this positive and store this in the third memory slot, STO3. So what do we have now? We wanted to buy certain things in future. We knew what rates the prices would increase. Now we know the prices at which we will be able to procure them. So if I have some portfolio with me in such a way that after 8 years it gives me 42 lakhs, after 10 years it gives me 194, and after 11 it gives me 115, my requirements would be satisfied. So now my job is to build that portfolio today. Now the problem here is that all of these are on different time scales. And the whole idea with annuity is, if I know what amount I need here on this date, then I can find out those 3 payments which will give me this amount. Do you remember 331? 100, 100, 100, it gave us 331. So he would be working for how many years? 10 years. So every month he would be making this payment here. Every month he would be making the payment. So if I know what is the amount that he needs here, if I can find out what amount he would need at the end of year 10, we can easily find out all those payments. Making sense? Now this is at year 8. If I want to know how much is an equivalent amount at year 10, how can I achieve this? If this is at year 8, at the end of year 8 I need 42.87. How much do I need at the end of year 10? Simply take a future value. Future value for how many years? 2 years. So second clear TVM. RCL1, which is in your first memory slot. RCL1 is your present value, so we don't lose any decimals. What should be the interest rate now? 10% or 15%? No, not 10%. See, the whole idea is, I want to still buy the house, or I want to still take the vacation at year 8. I don't want to take it in year 10. I would take that in year 8, but okay, let's think of it this way. I need 42.87 lakh rupees at the end of year 8. Can I take a loan of 42.87 from the bank? Yes. And if that is the case, if I decide to pay back that loan at the end of year 10, bank will charge me interest at what rate? 15%. So let's think of it this way, that I have taken a loan, so this requirement is satisfied, and I have to pay to the bank this amount, future value of 42.87 at the rate of 15% for 2 years. Second clear TVM, RCL1 is your present value, 15 is your IY, N is your 2. Second clear TVM, RCL1 is your present value, 15 is your IY, N is your 2, compute future value. Whatever is the amount, use plus minus key to make it positive, store it in the fourth memory slot. So now the value of this amount at the end of year 4 is this much. I'm repeating this logic again. I need 42.87 at the end of year 8. That's where I want to buy the vacation, not at the end of year 10. So at the end of year 8, I go to a bank. Let's assume that I have not saved anything. I have not saved anything. I go to a bank. I ask the bank a loan for 42.87. So bank gives me that loan, and bank says we will charge you an interest of 15%. This amount I will pay back at the end of year 10. So we have just found out what is that amount that we would be required to pay, and that amount is stored into your 4th memory slot. Up to this, is it okay? Now I also need 11 or this amount 115.43. In fact, let's have this as it is. This 194.30 that you have in the 2nd memory slot, say RCL2. RCL2, that number is on your screen. Store it again in the 5th memory slot, say STO5. I'm telling you why we are doing this. This number has gone into 5th memory slot. So this number is here now. That if I need 194.30 today, I neither need to take future value or present value. Now I need 115.46 at the end of year 11. But we want to find out an equivalent amount at year 10. So let us imagine this way. If I deposit some X amount in the bank at the end of year 10 in such a way that at the end of year 11 it becomes 115.46, then automatically it will take care of my requirement. Should I repeat what I said? If next year if I want 120 rupees, how much do I need today? So the present value of 120 is what I deposit in a bank today. So in the same fashion, we would find out present value of this amount for 1 year. So second clear TVM, RCL3 is your future value. RCL3 is your future value. 1 is your N. 15 is your IY. Compute present value. Whatever is the number that you have on the screen, use plus minus key to make it positive. Store it in the 6th memory slot. So we are going in a sequence. The first 3 memory slot on your calculator, these were the actual amounts. 4, 5, 6, the row exactly above that, these are your equivalent amounts at the end of year 10. And now I know that the total of 4, 5 and 6 is what I need at the end of year 10. So how much should I invest every month? So now we can solve for this easily. Second clear TVM, RCL4 plus RCL5 plus RCL6. RCL4 plus RCL5 plus RCL6 is your future value. RCL4 plus RCL5 plus RCL6 is your future value. Now there is a small trick here, but we'll ignore that. Okay. Now you have your future value. You want to find out your IY. So now you would say 15 divided by 12. 15 divided by 12 is your IY. And these amounts are at the end of year 10. So 10 into 12. 10 into 12 is your N. Compute payment. 1 2. How much Weber? 1 2 8 7. How much Ankur? 127 681. How many of you getting 127 681? Wonderful. Okay. Let's check where it has gone wrong. Tell me what is your 4th memory slot? Huh? 56 point something. 5th memory slot. 191. 6th memory slot. 100.39. So if you have these numbers correct, then you can again take a total of them, put them in your, make them as your future value, 10 into 12 as your N, 15 divided by 12 as your IY, and compute payment again. You would get the answer. Now, how should I ask this question? Okay. How are you, how many of you are feeling okay with what we have done? Okay. Let's do it again in a slightly different fashion. Okay, the same question we will solve, but now we will use a different set of logic. But before we do that, you understand this. Let us say this is year 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. I ask you a question in this way, that I need 500 rupees at the end of year 5. Interest rate is 10%. How much amount should I invest every year? So solve. I need 500 rupees at the end of year 5. The interest rate is 10%. How much amount should be invested every year? 81.89. So what are you doing here is, you're saying 500 is your future value, your N is 5, your IY is 10, and you're saying compute payment, and that payment has come out to be 81.89. Use plus minus key to make it positive, store it in the first memory slot. Now let's do this question the other way around. I'm going to invest 81.89 every year. How much money will I have at the end of year 5? Second clear TVM, RCL1 is your payment. So your payment is equal to 81.89. You would invest this for 5 years. Your interest rate is 10%. Compute future value. How much? 500. Okay. So that means it's coming out to be same. Let's do the same question again in a slightly different fashion. I earn some XYZ amount every month. I want to take a loan today in such a fashion that I would pay an installment of only 81.89. I earn some amount every month. I want to take a loan in such a way that I would be required to pay installment of only 81.89 every year. So second clear TVM, 81.89 is your payment, or your RCL1 is your payment, to avoid mistakes. Second clear TVM, RCL1 is your payment. 5 is your N. 10 is your IY. Compute present value. How much? 300.46. So this is your present value here. Everyone okay up to this? Now, second clear TVM again. I have taken loan of 310.46 today. So 310.46 is your present value. N is 5. IY is 10. How much amount I will be required to pay at the end of year 5? Again 500. So this is how we are actually manipulating with the numbers. This is how we are manipulating with the numbers. Now I'm going to ask you the same question in a slightly different fashion now. Okay, you do this. 300 divided by 1.1. Just tell me the number. 272.72. And 200 multiplied with 1.1. It's 220. Now I'm asking you a question in a different fashion. That I need 220 rupees 6 years from now. And I need 272.72 4 years from now. How much money should I deposit every year for next 5 years so that this portfolio is sufficient to take care of my expenses? Same question what we were doing earlier. I need 272 here. I need 220 here. Now again these are on different point scales. So what do? This 272 I will convert to year 5. And how will I do that? I'll take future value. So let's try. Second clear TVM. 272.72 is your present value. 10 is your IY. 1 is your N. Compute future value. This is 300. This year 6 value we want to bring it backwards. So second clear TVM, 220 is your future value, 10 is your N, 1 is your N, 10 is your IY, compute present value, 200. So I need 500. So if I invest 81.89 for next 4 years, automatically this portfolio would be sufficient to take care of my expenses. Automatically this portfolio would be sufficient to take care of my expenses. Let's go a step further. Let's know why. Why does it work like this? If I invest 81.89 every year, for 4 years here. Can you find out how much money will I be left with at the end of year 4? Have you followed my question? If I invest 81.89 for 4 years at the rate of 10%, how much money will I have at the end of year 4? 380. So at the end of year 4, I would be left with 380. But out of that, 272.72 I will use for my vacation, or I will use for some purpose. So let's say 380 minus 272.72. How much? 107.33. So at the end of year 4, I would be left with 107.33. Are you following what I'm doing here? Now, will I just leave this 107.33? I will again reinvest. And I will reinvest at the rate of 10%. So let's add 10% to this amount so that we will get to know how much we will have at the end of year 5. 107.33 plus 10%. Or take future value at the rate of 10%. How much? $114.38. 108.06. So we are left with 118.06. Year 5, I will invest this 81.89 again. Yes, that's what I'm actually doing. So in year 5, I would invest this 81.89. So let's say 118.06 plus 81.89. 199.95. That means about 200. And this 200, if I reinvest again for 1 year, that would become 220. That means these 5 payments of 81.89 are making sure that my expenses are well taken care of. Bounce. Is it? Are you following what I'm saying here? Should I repeat this again? Okay. We'll make it all the more simple now. 0, 1, 2 and 3. I am going to invest 100 rupees for 3 years at the rate of 10%. Tell me how much amount will I be left with at the end of year 3? 331. Good. If I want to find out an equivalent amount, now do you do it this way? Take present value of 331 for 3 years at the rate of 10%. Tell me how much? Present value of 331 at the rate of 10% for 3 years. Tell me how much is that? 248.66. Let me ask you a question in a different way now. If I take loan of 248.66 today, interest rate is 10% per annum. And if I'm going to pay back in 3 installments, what would be my installment? Karke dekho. Put 248.66 as your present value. Please do not forget second clear TVM. 248.66 is your present value. 3 is your N. 10 is your IY. Compute payment. Is it 100? Yes. So that means I'm doing jugglery here. I can move these numbers around and it is still giving me the same answer. What I'm actually doing is I'm actually breaking down this 331 now into 2 parts. See how I do it is 200 and 131. Now, let us say take present value of 200 at the rate of 10% for 1 year. Present value of 200 at the rate of 10% for 2 years. 181.81. And take future value of 131 at the rate of 10% for 1 year. 144.1. Now I'm asking you the same question in a different fashion. Now if I ask you a question that I need to invest I need to spend 181.81 2 years from now and 144.1 3 years from now, 4 years from now, how much money should I deposit at the end of every year for next 3 years? This is a question. Is it similar to what we did earlier? So now, how do I solve for this? The problem is that I'm going to invest for 3 years. So I need to know what would be the amount at the end of year 3. So how did we did when we solved that is, we took future value of 181 and it gave us 200. We took present value of 144, it gave us 131. Then that gave us a total of 331 and that gave us the answer of 100. That's how we solved the earlier question. Now we are looking at the logic why. So what happens is, when I'm here at the end of year 2, how much money do I have? This 100 has anyways been invested for 1 year. So I have 110. Plus I invested this 100 today. So how much money do I have here? I have a total of 121 rupees. Can I say that? Yes, I have a total of 121. Now, okay, now it's going to be difficult. Now what I do is, I use my own 121 rupees and for the remaining amount, I go to a bank and take a loan. I use my own 121 rupees and for the remaining amount, I go to a bank and take a loan. So how do I take that loan here? Sorry, this is not 121. This is 110 and this is 100, this is 220. I have 220, I use 181, how much I am left with? I am left with 38. 38 point, or let's say 39 rupees. I am left with 39 rupees here. This 39 rupees I can invest again for 1 year. So how much will I have? 39 plus 10%. Karo kitna aata hai? $39 plus 10%, so that's about 4. So let's say that's about approximately 43. So what I'm left with here is again 100 and again 43, and this amount I can reinvest again. This is 210, so this would give us 29. This 29 will become 33. And what I'm left with is 100 plus 33. This 100 plus 33 I will reinvest for 1 more year and then that would give me 144. That would take care of my expense at the end of year 4. Or if not, if you are still not following this, go back home, watch this video once. And if nothing works, then simply remember that if you approach a question like this, where the amount is coming on different point scales, meaning of which is that some amount is being received on 5-6, some amount is being received on year 7. If I convert this amount to year 6 and this amount to year 6, and then if I solve for an annuity, that annuity would automatically take care of these expenses. Are we okay here? Okay, so let's stop for the day. We will be solving the same question again when we start the session tomorrow morning. Okay, so go back and just play with this number. This is not difficult. It would take some time for you to build this understanding. But once you do it, you would feel really comfortable. So tomorrow morning again, 8 o'clock.